What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for watching another video. Today we're back with the Audi S3, the very dirty Audi S3. And today we're going to be talking about my 6-month experience with the car, things from reliability, the fun factor, and all of that stuff. Since I bought this car back in November of 2020, I've had the car for a little bit over 6 months now. So let's get right into it. So before I get into my experience with owning the car, I wanted to go over the couple of mods that I have on it. So far I have the CTS cold air intake, I have a CTS inlet pipe, CTS downpipe that you should be able to see right there. I also have the Stage 2 93 and E30 tune by EQT, which is fantastic. I have RS7 spark plugs. I also have these beautiful carbon fiber mirror caps as well. I do have a couple of more things sitting at home. I have a carbon fiber lip that I got to put on the car that's going to be going on shortly, and I also have a carbon fiber trunk spoiler little lid that's going to be going on the trunk. So that should look really good. And then after I get those things on, I'm going to want to do the suspension and all that. So I thought the best way to talk about this car was actually to go out and have a fun drive with it. Now, hopefully you guys don't hear the air conditioner in the background on. It is super hot today. It's over 90 degrees, so hopefully that doesn't interrupt the audio. But like I stated in the intro, I've owned this car for a little bit over 6 months now. I bought this back in November of 2020. Right now, we're getting closer to the end of May. I bought this in Connecticut, actually, this car. So I had to travel a little bit to go get it. And honestly, I've put about 5,000 to 6,000 miles on the car, and they've been some of the most fun miles I've ever had driving a car. I haven't had to do really any kind of maintenance on the car besides little things here and there, and honestly, it's been great. So I feel Volkswagen and Audi have a very bad rep when it comes to reliability for some reason. I've owned multiple Volkswagens. This is my first Audi, but as you guys know, Volkswagen and Audi are the same company. And I've had zero issues with all my cars. I've had little things go wrong here and there, but I feel like most of that was more user error from modifying a car. Anything that I kept relatively stock or things like that, I never had an issue with. This Audi, my S3, I've never had any kind of problems with it so far, thank God. And to be honest, I've driven this car pretty hard. I am not by any means light on it. I do baby it occasionally, but since I don't drive this car every day, my wagon, my TDI, is still my daily. I might drive this car once or twice a week, sometimes not even once a week, sometimes every other week. It depends really, and it depends on the weather as well. I like to drive this when it's nice out. And honestly, I do not baby this car. I really don't. I drive it pretty hard and it never skips a beat. So let's go back to the reliability topic. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the times when it comes to reliability, people get blinded by the fact that they're hearing a small percentage of what's going on with these cars. If you go on the internet and you look up issues with Volkswagen or Audi, etc., you'll see, oh, they have this issue, they have that issue, but you have to understand that that's probably the small majority out there, that these companies sell thousands upon thousands of vehicles and you're only reading a forum with maybe 10, 20, 30 people on it. So if you think about it, that is a very small amount of people that are probably having an issue, and you never know, some of these people may not even be maintaining their cars correctly. When it comes to these German cars, you really need to use the right parts. You need to give 100% when maintaining these cars. You have to use the right oil. If you need to do anything with the coolant, you got to use the right coolant. You got to make sure you're using the right parts, and you got to be sure you're using the right fluids. These cars are very picky, especially when it comes to things, like I said, like fluids and especially sensors. A lot of the sensors that you need to buy for these cars, if you're not buying the top of the line or an OEM equivalent, you're going to have problems. If, for example, let's say, I don't know, you have an O2 sensor issue and you go to AutoZone and you buy an off-the-shelf, the cheapest thing that they have there, most likely the sensor won't work and it won't fix your problem. But if you go to a Volkswagen or Audi dealer and buy that same sensor OEM, which obviously, yes, it's going to be more expensive, but it will work and it will fix your problem. So going back to the beginning of the video, when I showed you guys the mods that I have on my S3, whenever you modify a car, no matter what way, it usually declines the reliability factor of that car, especially when you're going into performance and tuning and doing all that stuff. So like I had said, I have an intake, I have a downpipe, I have a tune, I have all these things, and realistically, that should make the car have more issues, usually because when you're pushing the car harder than it is supposed to be stock, you are exposing the weaknesses of your engine, you're exposing the weaknesses of whatever parts are being changed, or whatever correlated parts in that system are being changed. So for example, let's say you're gonna tune your car and you have stock spark plugs in the car, and obviously a tune is going to up the boost pressure, the tune is going to advance the timing, and it's a possibility that your plugs, if they were already somewhat weak, will now start to misfire on the car, being they cannot keep up with the demand that the tune is asking for. So that is something you need to keep in mind, that if you're not going to keep a Volkswagen or Audi stock, whether you have a Mark 7 Golf R, you have an Audi S3, the A3, this goes for any kind of performance-oriented vehicle that Volkswagen and Audi have. If you're not going to keep it stock, you may run into a little more problems here and there, but that is something you need to keep in mind, that you're probably going to have to maintain the car a lot better. You're probably going to have to do services sooner. So let's say you're doing an oil change every 7,000 to 10,000 miles on a stock car, that might be fine. But if you have a tuned vehicle with bolt-ons, you're probably going to have to do your oil change every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, something like that. Also, if you're going to change out stuff like suspension, and let's say you're going to do just springs, you may realize that when you lower the car and there's a lower center of gravity, that your shocks might be blown. Maybe your sway bar might be messed up. Your links might be a little worn out. There's a lot of different factors that come into play when it comes to modifying your vehicle. So we're going to be moving away from the reliability aspect of this video, and we're going to be talking about the fun factor of these cars. Now, I'm not gonna lie, before I purchased this car, I was looking at them a lot, and I was going back and forth between Golf R, S3. I was also debating on maybe the GTI. So I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in before buying this. I was a little hesitant because the S3, at least here in America, is only offered with the DSG transmission, which by the way is awesome. And I definitely recommend, even if you're a manual head like I was, and I still am, but now I have this, that you should just try one out. It'll probably change your perspective on them like it did me. I didn't know what to think. I thought it wasn't going to be as fun. A lot of people were telling me the car isn't as engaging. It's kind of dead. It's not fun. And to be honest, at least in my first 6 months, that is not at all true. I have never had, at least in a fast feeling way, more fun in a car than this. Obviously, stuff like my Mini or my Miata were fun in different ways. Like the Miata was a crazy car that can handle ridiculously. The cornering was amazing. The Mini with this exhaust, the pops and bangs, also really good handling. That's fun in its own right. But this car is fun in a fast way. So when looking at the S3s, one thing that was make or break for me was I needed to have a facelift, and I needed to get the digital display, which is available from the 2017 model up. So that was one thing. Now, in the fun factor field, this car has been nothing but amazing. So for the price you could get these cars at, and if you're looking even at like a 2015 or 2016 S3, you can find them with 60 to 70,000 miles for like low 20s, and depending on the person, even sometimes I've even seen under $20,000, which is an absolute bargain for a car like this and the performance you get. Because if you slap a couple bolt-ons and a tune, these cars fly. Now, I haven't personally gone to the track with this car yet, which I am dying to go. I just have not had any time, unfortunately, but I promise I'm going to be making some time so I can get a video out to you guys doing that. But what power you can get from these cars with such little money is ridiculous. So just to put into perspective, let's say you buy this car, you find, like I said, a 2015 or 2016 for around 20K, and you're like, okay, I want to make this faster, because in the right mind, for a person who drives normal cars, a stock S3 will probably feel pretty fast to them. These cars make about 300 horsepower stock anyway, so just keep that in mind. You can buy a downpipe and a tune, a stage 2 tune, and that's it, and you'll be over 400 horsepower, and you'll be over 400 torque, and that is a huge jump from stock. And you can get, like, for example, the CTS downpipe was about $450 to $500. And let's say, again, I'm just going to mention them because I'm tuned by them and they're amazing. Let's say you go EQT and you buy their Stage 2 E30 tune, for example, or their new Stage 2 full E85 tune, and you want to buy the high pressure fuel pump internal, whatever the case is, you'll be under $2,000 in mods, and you'll be making over 400 horsepower. And at that point, you are going to be faster than most cars on the road regularly, and you're going to be faster than those WRXs that have, you know, an exhaust and a little tune on it. You're going to be faster than your Focus STs that are going to be on the road. Cars like that, you'll easily be able to keep up with them or completely blow them out of the water. So I don't want to keep rambling, guys. I just wanted to make a quick video on my 6-month experience with the car. I love it. I've had no reliability issues whatsoever with this car. I've just done basic maintenance, my oil change, I've done the Haldex fluid service. That was pretty much it. I'm not by any means soft on this car. I drive this car pretty hard whenever I drive it. I do pulls, I launch it. I just have a good time with this car because that's what I bought this car for, to have a good time, to have something that's enjoyable, to have something that feels fast, and that's exactly what this car gives me. These cars, for what they are, make great power, and especially when you go to another route where you're going to upgrade the turbo and do that, these cars are absolute monsters. And I will repeat again, these cars are monsters. They are so fast when you do over the usual, like, Stage 2 tuning. And again, to recap, the Fun Factor, these cars are really fun. I think they're super engaging. They sound pretty good depending on the kind of exhaust that you do. Like I said, they're fast. They're just great. They handle pretty well. I mean, I'm going around a turn right now and I'm doing, it's a pretty close quarter turn. I'm doing more than 40 miles per hour. No tire screech, no oversteer, no understeer. It feels like it hooks pretty well. So if you're in the market for any kind of MQB car, whether you're looking at a GTI, you're looking at an A3, the Golf R, the S3, whatever kind of MQB platform car you decide, I would definitely go with it. If you maintain it properly, it will be reliable, it will last you a long time, and you could put money into it, performance-wise, look-wise, whatever your niche is, whether you like aesthetics or performance, it doesn't matter. These cars will be a lot of fun, they'll be fast, and you're not going to regret the purchase until maybe you get older or more funds and you want to increase the level and go to something like a TTRS or an RS3. But obviously that's on another level, on another platform. But for what these cars are, the price you could get them for, and the things you could do with them and still have a reliable daily driver, honestly, is really hard to beat. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.